Guys, do not marry a woman from the United States. Y'all can live in the same house, and she thinks sweeping her own floor is a slave duty.
The reason why the woman needs to care more because we're already operating from a deficit as a man. You're already getting simps hitting you up. You're already getting opportunities. You're already getting guys willing to spend money on you, protect. The point is that women don't appreciate chivalry anymore because, quite frankly, I hate to say it like this, women are terrible people when they have leverage.
Why don't you just commit to one and choose to be faithful to her?
I'm just not wired that way. I spent my whole 20s trying to fix myself. Thought something was
You're a man
wrong
of
with me.
self-control. You work out, you do business.
Yeah.
You can possess your own power and direct it the way you want to direct it.
It's just not how I am. It's not how I am.
You think that might be a limited mindset?
I think it's none of your business, but
we got delusional ass men around here that do delusional shit with these women that don't make no sense because they emasculated and simped up. And
damn. Okay, where do I start? So today we're going to talk about the Manosphere and the Red Pill Gang. Is it beneficial or is it detrimental? Is it beneficial or is it detrimental? So I'm kind of late to the party. I'm going to be honest. I'm late to the party when it comes to the Manosphere and when it comes to the Red Pill Gang, right? So I am familiar with Kevin Samuels. To me, Kevin Samuels, I guess he can be part of that Manosphere piece, but he at least came from a place of like trying to build relationships, right? He came from a place of trying to educate. He was harsh to some of them women, but you know, if you really watched his content, he was harsh, I think, for attention, but like his core was to try to build relationships and to challenge women on their expectations when it comes to like finding a guy. His sons and like some of the things that happened after him, my God, like these individuals. Like I'll first explain to you how I got kind of introduced to this and why I'm talking about this, right? So my son, I have a 17-year-old son. He knows I like to listen to things that talk about manhood and affirmation, positive affirmations, things like that. And so we was in a car ride and he said, "Yo, Dad, check this guy out I've been listening to." So he shows me this guy is Andrew Tate. And so I'm like, okay, Andrew Tate, let me check him out. And so I'm gonna be honest, the first video I seen, I'm like, okay, he's pretty interesting. He's talking about things that I like. He's talking about working out. He's talking about sparring. He's talking about being formidable as a man. He was going over some investments. He was showing a building that he's getting ready to invest in, some of his cars. And I said, okay, he's pretty interesting. He's interesting. I'll follow him. And so I went down a rabbit hole when it came to him just looking at his content. And the more and more I watched him, I said, yo, man, like, I wonder if my son's listening to this. A lot of his views when it comes to women, I'm not gonna say I disagree with all of it, but I disagreed with a good portion of it. I just disagreed with it. And so then I'm like, man, like my son's listening to this. And I went down the rabbit hole when it came to just the Manosphere and just, I went down the rabbit hole when it came to just the Red Pill Gang and different guys start coming up. And I'm sitting here like, man, these dudes have like millions and millions of views. And these guys weren't talking about repairing relationships or nothing. They were just like, man, like becoming a high value man, talking about how to get laid, talking about how to, even a playing field when it comes to these women who are just savages out here, who are just out to get you, man. There's a lot, just like how these Manosphere dudes and these Red Pill dudes are walking around just trying to get laid all day. There are a lot of women who are savages. There are women that will take advantage of you, that will clean you out, who don't have that moral compass, right? So I'm not saying all women aren't like that, but like, man, like if you are really that dude, I'm gonna get into this, but like if you're really that person, like you really don't have a lot of those problems, are you able to, are you able to identify those type of women and you're able to kind of push them out fast, right? I want to get into it. I was talking to my son and I had to tell him like, yo, man, like I think social media has kind of like warped the views on individuals. It has made individuals more depressed, more self-conscious, and it has made individuals socially awkward. I'm an 80s baby, right? And so I was born in the 80s, and I was telling him, like, I come from a dark time where you had to physically walk to women with your homeboys behind you, and you had to basically do a 30-second pitch of yourself to be able to pursue her and persuade her to give you her phone number, right? And it was a possibility she could say no while your homeboys is in the background. She say no, your boy's like, oh, right? But, it taught you character. And it taught you how to, like, you had to improve your conversation had to be right. You know, your appearance had to be right. You know, your sense of humor had to be right. You had to be interesting. So it kind of built you up as a person. And if she did reject you, you know, it taught you character. It taught you that no just meant next opportunity. Plenty of times where one young lady would say no to me, right? And I would just go to the next one and pursue her, who looks way better than the last one who rejected me. And she would say yes, right? And so it just taught you how to have resilience and just to keep pushing and moving forward. I personally cannot relate to this Manosphere Red Pill stuff because, like, I never had any of the problems these guys have. And none of my friends or people around me has had these type of issues where, like, we come from an era where, you know, if you weren't the most attractive guy, you knew how to maybe dress well, right? If you if you were short, you know, you knew how to compensate that with another skill set, and you just weren't afraid of failure, like I said earlier. So if you failed or if you weren't able to pursue certain women, you just worked on yourself till you could, right? And it wasn't that big of a deal, but also you were able to accept, you know, your level at what you can get. Where, you know, I know my level. I mean, I feel like, and again, I've never had an issue in high school. Never had an issue in college. I never had an issue as an adult, and I never been balling out of control or you know, I never had to flash money or nothing like that. And I'm doing pretty decent in life right now, and I never had to just do that type of stuff based off of just who I am naturally, God given as a person. I'm just being 100. I'm being 1,000 with you guys. Strike me with lightning. Like, I never had to do these red pill manosphere tactics. So for me, I just can't relate to it. I can't relate to it. And I know a lot of men out there can't relate to trying to trick a woman or, you know, just trying to, you know, get a one up on a female or something like that. It's just never like that. And we also have experienced genuine, like, beautiful women too. I'm talking about beautiful women, but who have good personalities, who aren't out to clean you out, who aren't out to hurt you and things like that. We have experienced these things, so we can't relate to these guys. And so for me, and this is gonna sound harsh, but it's just the truth. For guys like me, these Manosphere Red Pill guys, they come off as individuals that have resentment because maybe a guy like me might have took their girl on accident, right? And so they built these resentments, and they built this anger inside of them where it may have fueled them to be successful. And now that they're in a good position in life and they're attracting a woman that chase the bag, right? They're abusing them, not abusing them physically, but they're taking advantage of them, or they are hurting them, or they're just trying to get laid, or whatever the case is, right? Taking advantage of them and just hurting them. And for them, it's like, yo, because I got hurt by old girl in the past, or because I couldn't get women in the past, now, you know, I just try to get over on them all the time. And, like, to me, that's just whack. It's whack. And hurt people, right? But hurt people also teach other people how to hurt people. So you got to watch these red pill guys, because for me, and this is the best example I can say. If, let's say you purchase a Gucci belt, right? Let's say you purchase a Gucci outfit. You know, you're more equipped to identify fake designer, right? And so you're like, yo, hold on, man, I brought that belt from the store. Your Gucci's is a little backwards. It don't look like that. When you have something authentic, you're more likely to be able to identify replicas or fakes. And it's the same thing for a lot of men like me that is kind of puzzled by this red pill manosphere type of epidemic that's going on. You're just like, yo, I just don't get it. I don't get it, because a lot of these guys look like losers. They look like they can't really get women. You're looking at them like, man, these guys, like, before they became who they were, or maybe had some money, like, you know, these guys were unable to attract females, but they're teaching impressionable guys how to. It's just crazy to me, right? It's crazy to me. So again, I agree with some of it. I agree that a man should do his best to be as formidable as possible. I do agree that a man should, you know, be in shape. I do agree that you have to watch out for women who are, you know, who are wolves in sheep clothing. But I disagree that there's not genuine women out there. And I disagree that you got to hurt them or bash them. And I disagree with this, most importantly, this is what I want to talk about, right? This is the big thing I want to talk about, right? So, like, I feel like they're using the word simp negatively, and this is what's impacting the youth. And this is what I had to explain to my son. But, like, for me, the word simp has always been around. Like, being a simp has been around. But, like, for me, being a simp was an individual who, you know, allowed themselves sometimes to get taken advantage of by women by being naive. And I don't know if that's the best example, but I can maybe give you a scenario. So I have a friend who used to be a simp, and I remember like he didn't have the cliche or the persona to talk to women, so he used his money. He was doing well in life. And so my friend one day, he met a woman he liked, and he said, yo, let me take you shopping. And he spent like $2,000 on this woman just for her attention. He spent $2,000. Me and him and some other guys, we went to the club later on that night. We seen her in the new clothes that he brought her with another dude, right? And so we all clowned. He said, man, you gotta stop simping, man. You gotta stop being a simp. And he learned his lesson. That's a simp, right? An individual who doesn't have deal breakers or boundaries, which every man and woman should have deal breakers and boundaries when it comes to their relationship. So to me, and just how I grew up, that was the definition of a simp, just an individual like that. Today, and I got these notes, just from what I've seen, like individuals that want to be with one woman today is considered a simp. Individuals that want to be married today is considered a simp. And I'm like, yo, like, are these guys trying to, you know, do they not want them liking women at all? I'm confused by it. Like, if you were able to get beautiful women based off of who God has blessed you with, like how God has blessed you, it's women, then like once you get to a certain point in your life, like just having sex or getting laid is just corny. It's corny. It's pointless. It's shallow. And you want a young woman that you can spend your life with and build with, and have a family with. You get what I'm saying? That's nothing simping. There's no simp about that. No loser about that. You get what I'm saying? And then like just having one woman in your life. Again, like I'm not judging. You know, I know there's many different relationships, and I'm not saying those things are bad. But I'm just saying, like, to bash just wanting to have one woman, I think is corny to me. I think it's whack. But if you find that right woman and she pours into you, you will transform into something that is amazing. You'll transform into something that is just awesome, man. And like with God also pouring into you, but you also praising and pouring into him, like, man, like you become something formidable. You do, man. And it's a powerful thing. It's happiness. And you have purpose in life. Like if you are just trying to get laid, you really don't have no sense of purpose, man. And the type of women you're dealing with gotta be shallow, just like you are. That's my spill on that, guys. Hope this video wasn't too long, but you know, be careful. I'm not saying all the information is bad. Definitely work on yourself. You know, I try to work out. I try to stay in shape. I try to be financially stable. I try to, I try to be as sharp as possible. I read, I try to do things to be the best person I can be. But you should do that for yourself. And you should do that if you do have a partner. Like I have a partner. You should want to be the best formidable person for them. And it shouldn't be you just trying to get the one up so you can even a playing field. You can, just to get laid or diss women or disrespect women or, just treat women like, it's just, you don't have to do all that, man. There's a way to find a woman that you want, maybe skim out the negative women who are bad. That's it, guys. You have a good one. Again, if you ask me, the Manosphere, I think there's some benefits to it, but a lot of it I feel like is detrimental, and I had to erase a lot of that stuff. I'm trying not to cuss out of my son's mind.